Okay, y'all. So I had to look up crustaceans, right? Because I'm like, I gotta make sure. But I am amazed because when I looked it up, it was exactly what I saw. And then I saw, okay, so I looked up crustaceans, right? Because I felt like it was something that had a shell, and then I was like, well, let me look up where they live. I was like, where do crustaceans live? And it said at the bottom of the ocean, basically. So I knew that what I was seeing was correct, but as I was looking up crustaceans, then I saw a hermit crab, which is a crustacean too. And a hermit, so it was basically, and I talked about hermit mode, I think in that same video where I saw the crustaceans. So the crustaceans are basically like crabs and, bottom feeders basically that live at the bottom of the ocean. And so the translation was correct, is basically that, you are being, you being lifted up from the dirty part of the ocean. You're being lifted up to the top, okay, from the, so you're, and also coming out of hermit mode. So I talked about, oh, my throat chakra. I talked about how hermit mode is a part of the path, and then also is your emergence from the ashes as a phoenix, and your emergence from the cocoon as a butterfly. And so the crustaceans, it's also, the image that I was seeing was, I felt it more than seeing the rising of you being lifted, because this has happened with me before. This is a healing that happened with me, and I know that it was divine intervention, because at this time I actually was drowning in my emotions. Okay, this was about 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, and I was at the bottom. I had a dream. In the dream, I had this dream during, it was a full moon in Pisces, okay? And I remember it because I had a dream about water that night, the night of a full moon in Pisces. I believe maybe in 2019 or 2020. And so it was a full moon in Pisces. I believe it was in 2020. And I had fell asleep on the floor because my floor was very comfortable, and I would always cocoon up in my blanket and fall asleep on my floor. And I fell asleep on the floor and dreamt that when I fell asleep, I saw myself sleeping in the position that I was actually sleeping in, on the floor. But in the dream, I was at the bottom of a body of water, and I was sleeping in the same position, just like I was in real life. And I was looking at myself sleeping, and as I was watching myself, I started to rise from the bottom of this body of water up to the top. And when I woke up the next morning, I was healed. I felt better. I knew that God, the angels, the ancestors, you know what I'm saying, had assisted me in healing myself, because at that time, this was the first time that I had gotten ghosted by a narc, okay? And so this is why I'm immune to the things that narcissists do now. Like, I literally, fought the devil face to face and won. I don't call myself the narc slayer for no reason. Okay, and it takes a tremendous amount of, emotional discipline and mental stability. Okay, and you have to understand what's going on. So anyway, that was the first time though, and so I was devastated, and I was drowning in my own emotions. And but I never disconnected from God. And that night during the Pisces full moon, I had divine intervention, and I was literally saw myself being lifted from the bottom of that body of water to the top. I feel like this is what is happening to a lot of the chosen ones right now, because you have been afflicted. This I know for sure. And some of you are not getting enough rest. And when you do finally allow yourself to rest, the reason why you're not resting is because your mind is not at rest. And when your mind is not at rest, you may lay down and feel like you went to sleep, but you don't feel rested. And this is because your mind has to rest. And the only way that your mind is going to rest in this spiritual climate is that you trust God. I mean, okay? And so the instructions that were given were needed. It wasn't just there for, to try to control you. It was there to assist you on the path if you choose this path. And so the instructions to trust in God with all your heart as you are walking through the valley of the shadows, doing your shadow work, you cannot lean on your own understanding, because in the valley of the shadows are many illusions, and the illusions are grand illusions. They are all of your worst fears and weaknesses magnified, personified within an illusion that appears real. It's fear. It's false evidence appearing real. It appears real. And because you believe what you see more than what you feel, you are fearful. If you listen to your heart, you will make it through, because your heart is the actual light that will guide you. But it's going to show you the step in front of you, and you want to see further, and you are not going to be able to see further. This part of the path requires faith. Faith is built by developing trust. You develop trust by cultivating a relationship with the indwelling spirit that is God. Good night.